Bonjour, everybody. Hi, this is Neshi Locatz. Welcome to Star Nations Organization's main fan page and today's card draw live stream. It's Tuesday, July 3rd, 2018, and we're inching closer and closer to a U.S. holiday, which is July 4th, our Independence Day. And it falls in the middle of the week this year, and some people think that is just an awful thing, because it splits up the week and you get one day off and then you have to go back to work the next day. And then there's others who say, yay, we got a 5-day week because they can take off 3 days of vacation day or whatever. Or if you're self-employed, you can take some time off. But as you know, most entrepreneurs, we don't usually get a day off, not a full day anyway. So welcome to Star Nations Organization. And, I live in Tomah, Wisconsin, in the northwestern part of the state. And we have another beautiful morning here. Blue skies, 74 degrees, no humidity. It's the perfect Wisconsin day. We're not supposed to have any rain till tomorrow, which is good. And, I just love being able to walk out into the gardens and stuff in the mornings when it's like this, because it's cool enough that you have to have maybe, a long sleeve light something on, but and to see the grass kind of dewy, it's a good feeling. I like this part of the year. So Rochelle is with us. Good morning, Rochelle. And Jocelyn's with us, and so is Elise. Good morning, which means that Mary Ann is also with us. Thank you, ladies, for being with me this morning. Appreciate it. Today is kind of a little bit of an exciting day around here. Tuesdays are usually very busy to begin with, because we have now we have three live stream shows going on. This one, which is kind of a non-show, as Elise says, the non-show. Neshi's non-show, I think, is what you call it, right, Elise? There's this one, and then at 11 o'clock Central, noon Eastern, is Polly Joe's Chakra Sessions. And that is, if you like to learn and you want to know more about the chakra system, that is the show to watch, because Polly Joe teaches us on Tuesdays all about the chakra system. And she also has a healing meditation around the topic of which chakra that she's telling us about. And so she's on at noon. And then later this evening is my show, Communications from Home. And that's on at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central. And so it's kind of a busy day on Tuesdays, because I have to work at uploading the videos and promoting them. And, it gets kind of busy. Throw the magazine in there and it's jam-packed. But there's also another reason. Hey, Amy Daniels, thank you for being here. It's good to see you in the chat. Soon I'm going to be doing a live stream from my phone and walking through the Academy to show you the layout and what's here. And Elise says, I can design a logo for your non-show. Well, we'll talk about that. We will, because maybe we should put a little form around it. It's kind of an amoeba right now, Sure, we can look at that. That'd be kind of fun. But I'm going to do a live stream. I'm not sure exactly when that's going to be, because there's some things that are kind of in flux. I wanted to show you around the Academy. It's not a huge building. It's really the room that I'm in, and then next door is we built it as a garage, but it's more of a storage area, and but we don't have a bathroom up here, and we're remedying that. And so we have a composting toilet and the sink that has a reservoir to hold the water so we can wash hands and that kind of thing is coming today. Yay! And then Paul is also looking into solar panels and a converter. So we're going to work toward having the academy off grid with the electrical company as a backup. Okay, and so those are our plans, and we're got our fingers crossed that all of this is going to be done by September 22nd or before that, because we have the Hogwarts, the Magic at Hogwarts class here on the weekend of the 22nd of September. That's with Minnie and I. And in October, Polly Jo is coming here from Massachusetts. She's going to be here teaching a class called Mystic Healing 101, and it's all about the heart chakra. And she's also she has appointments on Friday and on Monday for private appointments. And so I'm going to be talking a little bit more about that more formally in the show tonight, and also to get some more posts out about it. But what's also coming up in August would be the weekend of the 5th and 6th, I believe, is the very first class, organized class, I should say, that I'm going to be teaching about shamanism. And we're going to be doing the initial information about shamanic journey. And so we'll be journeying Saturday and part of Sunday. That was a request. And so it's a very, how do I want to say this? The cost for the class is really just to cover the cost of the upkeep of the building, kind of thing. And so it's like $20 to learn how to do shamanic journey. If you haven't done your initial journey yet, or you're just learning about it, yeah, that's what that's all about. That's in August, the first weekend in August. So we're hoping to get the bathroom in. Otherwise, we do porta potty, or we'll rent an RV, and because we have a pad out here where we can park it, and we'll have a bathroom there and that kind of thing. So I know, isn't that cool, Amy? She says, "Awesome, being off grid." I know, and and it's a small enough building that we can, I think, easily do that, but it's a learning curve, and so we're not. We're doing a lot of research and reading, and what's the best for a small building kind of thing, So Paul's working on that. That's his project. Besides being my AV guy, the all around fix-it guy. He's got light bulbs to replace today too. I don't know about you, but do you guys go through light bulbs a lot? When I was teaching a lot of classes here, it was like we were blowing light bulbs all the time. And it's not like they would break or anything like that. They would just go out. And it's not as much as when I was teaching full time, but it certainly is. We go through light bulbs, even the ones that are supposed to last for years. It's like, oh my gosh. All right. So today's card draw is a card that we've gotten before. And it's a card that I used in I think it was the first, no, maybe it was the second mini class that I did about shamanism, the shamanic journey, on the closed group, the Star Nations Academy closed group. I do that mini class once a month, and I use this card as the basis of it. And it is the Shaman's Death. It's about death and rebirth. And we've gotten this card before. This is one of the cards, I say this almost every day, but the artwork on these cards are wow. Wow. And this one kind of reminds me of kind of a Rorschach ink blot. But there's bats on his face. That's what that's about, bats. Jamie Sams, the deck that we're using for this is the Sacred Path cards, and this was published in 1990. And so some of the words used, phrases used, you can tell it's from the previous decade, but the shamanic death, we've had this card before, and we've talked about the mini death, the little death. We've talked about how there are some people, they call them natural shamans, and they're usually people who've had um, traumatic events early in their life, but like between 1 and 7 years old, they say. Um, and I have to say, after that last card, the last time we got this card, I was talking to my mom, and I was asking her about my first 7 years, and so she had to start with the birth, because she almost had me in the car, and she goes, "You were always that way from the time I was pregnant with you. You were ready to go. You were ready to start life, even if I wasn't ready for you to be had in the car, kind of thing." And so anyway, she tells me that story again, but she did tell me something that I wasn't really aware of, and she said the first 6 months, she said that I had it wasn't whooping cough, but I was really sick. It was probably my first bout of pneumonia, I bet, because I've had it 4 times, and I wonder if that's not what happened to me then. She said that it was touch and go there for a long time. She says you were pretty sick. She goes, the rest of us had to be sweating because we had wood heat. And she said your dad kept stoking the fire because he wanted it to be really warm for you, so that we could put the water on the wood burning stove, so we could create the steam, that you needed, and that kind of thing. So, and I didn't know about that. And so that was between 1 and 7. Yeah, I don't know. So anyway, it's Shaman's death. When I was reading this particular piece again, what Jamie Sams had to say about it, what jumped out at me this time, and it seems to be kind of like a theme. Good morning, Jill. Hi. Elisa's saying would like to come to that, but keep looking for cheaper ways to get there. Not much luck. I know. And Mato is saying, good morning. Good morning to you, Mato. And William, Bill Elliott's in the house. Hi, Bill. It's good to have you here. Okay, so when I was reading the information, looking for, because how I get the card is I'm asking my spiritual team to show me what is the most important energy for us to know about today for the highest good, and that I can share with others, right? And so when this card popped down, I thought, okay, we've had this a couple of times. So what is it about this particular card that is important for us to either discuss again or to discuss or something that I didn't see the first time, didn't sense the first time? And what I got from that was, hi, Jill, was there's a piece in here that we just kind of did the surface dusting of it. And it's about facing the shadow. There is, how do I want to explain this? You all know that I have trepidation about using the word shaman, right? Only because it doesn't come from an indigenous language here on Turtle Island. It was borrowed from the Sami people over in Eastern Europe. Well, actually, they go from east to west, from Norway and Finland across the Alps into the southern part of Russia, Mongolia kind of area, all the way to the sea. And so, but it's their language, and it literally means those who travel in the dark. And I have to say that the meaning of the word, when it's translated, has a deeper meaning. And I wish that there was, I'm going to have to learn the Potawatomi word, I think, for that, for the holy person, medicine person. And it's more than just, there's medicine people, and then there's medicine people. There's a healer, and then there's the holy person. Okay. The healer is the one who learns about the herbology, how to use what Grandmother Earth is giving us to heal. And they help us to balance to balance ourselves in a way that our body will begin to heal. And so they are a facilitator, right? A facilitator. And they create the sacred space for us to be able to heal. All right. So, but what they do is they use the medicine from the plants, from nature, in a positive way, the positive aspects of it. Very seldom do they go into the shadow part of it. Okay. The holy person, the shaman, they travel in the darkness, and when they say that, it's not necessarily between good and evil. Okay, you can be a shaman and you can be illuminated with the light, or you can be a shaman and you can be using it for in a bad way, in a bad medicine way. Manipulation, really, that's what it turns out to be. And so when I reread the information and we were talking about the shadow, what I want to focus on is, this is what I was getting from my spiritual team, is that the shaman is also the person, that holy person is the one that will actually face and go into their own darkness. Their own darkness. In other words, those aspects of us that in the English language we would call weaknesses, okay, that we will actually go and find out about those things, face those things, try to find the balance or healing, to bring the energy, that's our language, up, to elevate it, and to literally bring it home, to bring it to center. Okay, does that make sense? Hey, LaRonda, sounds great. Yeah. I'm so glad you're with us, LaRonda. So that's the piece that I believe that is the energy for us to be aware of today. That's important for us to consider. And this has been kind of a theme in the last, I think, 2 or 3 cards, is facing those aspects of ourselves, the shadow parts of ourselves, and having our spiritual team, our full complement of our spiritual team, to help us with that. Many times we get so used to working with just a few of them, that we know their name. We have gotten information about a background, if we've had a life together, a physical life together, that sort of thing. But we have many, many, many in spirit who are helping us. And so when we call on the full contingency, the full team, we have so much help to achieve our intention, our goal, for our highest good, because that's what it is all about, is our soul growth, right? And so when we face the shadow parts of ourselves, when we go there, many times we are traveling in the dark, because it is the shadow. It is that the parts of us that sometimes we don't want to acknowledge is there. We don't want to admit that it's there. That maybe we do know it's there, and we procrastinate to deal with it, because we know it's going to open a can of worms, right? We're going to open that Pandora's box. But in order for us to be into our full whole self, right? Those are the aspects that we have to bring to light, that we have to bring home into our center in a balanced way, right? Because if we're not our whole selves and we try to assist someone else it may not be in the full extent that it could be. All right. So we're only presenting a part of ourselves. And as someone who travels in the dark, during those shamanic journeys, you are in the dark. You are, many people think that you're traveling in the lower world when that happens. And that isn't necessarily true. It's the middle world, what's right here with us right now in the middle world is how do I want to explain that? It is the most tricky place to be when you're in a journey, because you have to be really aware of what is being presented to you, because you could be presented something and it's the complete opposite. You know, somebody who shows themselves in spirit as a light being, only to have a facade up. So when you're not balanced and centered, and you are not aware of your own weaknesses, your own shadow selves, that you don't even notice it. You don't notice that deception. And so when we're able to face our own shadow in its many forms, it's an education. We recognize the vibration of that. And so when we sense it, feel it, see it again somewhere else, it's like, oh, that's what that was. All right, I recognize that. I see you. I feel you. I know what that is. And so it's very difficult to deceive someone who does the recognizing of that frequency, that vibration, right? So for those who have accepted the shamanic path, the medicine path, it isn't an easy path. It's not, because you spend a good portion of your energy healing that part of you, the shadow self, balancing it. And so I think that that's what this card draws about this morning, is that shaman's death. And it reminded me of another card that we recently got, which was counting coup. And in the old days, the warriors, it was a higher level of bravery to get as near to your enemy, your opponent, as possible without dying, without losing your life. And so it was much braver to be able to ride up and touch them. It was much braver to get close enough to them to take their horse. It was much braver to sometimes to take their wife. You know, you're getting it's that counting coup. It's that act of bravery, right? And in modern times, the act of bravery by male or female is still to count coup against your opponent, but your opponent is really yourself. It is that aspect of you that is that carries the jealousy, the out of balance competition, the fear, the anger, the addictions. Those parts of ourselves, the shadow parts, is our opponent. And when we can count coup, we get close to them, that we don't die necessarily physically, but that part of us that is in the darkness, that jealousy, that hate, that fear, that part dies. And so that is another form of the shaman's death. That part that needs to be healed and brought back to center, you know? So, and and early in my spiritual career as a teacher, I taught classes about soul clearings. And in those soul clearings, when we would do the clearing, we would look at the aspect that's being cleared and replace it with the energy of the complete opposite. So if you were clearing hate, then you would be filling that void that you just created with love. Okay. And so that is what I'm talking about right now, is that when we face our shadow selves and we, shall we say, neutralize it. How's that? It is still a death in an energetic sense to that shadow part of ourselves. And when we do that, the balance is bringing in the opposite of it, to bring it into balance. So if we are working on hate and we bring that into balance, then we're bringing in love. I hope I'm making sense. And Jill is saying, are you saying that sometimes you may not be in lower world, even though we thought we did, especially when asking to see shadow? It depends on what part of the shadow you're looking for and the intention for it. Going to the lower world to look at the shadow is to be working with your power animals and to be showing you the aspects of yourself that is the shadow. Okay. So you can heal from there, but a lot of people think that it's those stories from a religious point of view. Okay, this is what I'm talking about, Jill. Is that they confuse the lower world with hell. The lower world is not hell. Our power animals wouldn't be there. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. There's many religious doctrines that place hell in the lower world inside Grandmother Earth, right? Energetically, sometimes physically. So that is, I think, where the kind of confusion is that that you think that you're going to hell when you go to the lower world, and that's not the case. I do believe that we see more shadow, active shadow here in the middle world. That's why it's so challenging to do the kind of shamanic travel, the soul traveling in the middle world. And you really have to be grounded and balanced, I think. That's my 2 cents, to do the work in the middle world. And the more that we heal and take care of and balance the shadow parts of ourselves, the work in the middle world is less challenging. Yeah. All right. So, hey, Minnie Kinsman's in the house. My sister is in the house. Hey, Minnie. All right. So this is the shaman's death that we were talking about. And I do believe when I was reading Jamie Sam's information, that's what jumped out at me, is that, let's see, she says that, see if I can find it. The shadow side of self, which inhibits growth, is constantly forced to die. These deaths occurs on a daily basis. Whether they are our fears, our doubts, our bad habits, our negative thoughts, our self-importance. These deaths mark spiritual progress and speak of the ability of humankind to walk in balance. Every time a person reaches a crossroad and a decision must be made, that change in attitude marks the death of the old and the birth of the new. A shaman is a person who is willing to confront the greatest fears and shadows of a physical life. And I have to say, I agree with her. A shaman has walked up to the gates of his or her personal hell and then walked in. The quality that always shines in a true shaman is compassion for the paths that others must walk. And how that's done is because you counted coup on your own shadows, your own fears. And so when you've walked through that, you have compassion for somebody else who's going through their own, right? Yeah. All right. So Jill is saying, "Oh, I missed the connection you were making." Not going. No. Yeah. And actually, I was kind of dancing around that piece because there's the religious aspect to it. I have to say that, in my opinion, that many of us um, have that indoctrination from a certain religion, no matter what it is. And a lot of times that's what we're facing, is that we're undoing that piece that doesn't resonate with what we're here to experience in our soul growth, on our soul contract, right? And so, and some people are really still really connected to that for themselves. And so, yeah, I was just kind of dancing around the edge of that. Yeah, you caught on to that, Jill. Melania, I hope I pronounced that right. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. Important to clear the spaces that do not serve us. It's always good to clear our houses, our inner being. Yes, it is. Chimigwech for the brilliant reminder. I'm due for the lower world journey. Oh, me too. Me too. Oh my gosh. I'm so glad you're here, Melania. And I hope, if I mispronounce your name, apologies. Jill is saying, yes, good point. Active shadow in the middle world. Yes, it is. It's the most difficult place to journey. And in space clearing, when we're working on homes, since Minnie's in the house, that's where we do a lot of our work, is in the middle, when we're doing our journeys to our clients' houses and that kind of thing. Because Minnie and I found out many years ago, many years ago, that when we journey to our client's house to start the space clearing, before we actually get there for the actual ceremony and the clearing, many times it's much easier to deal with what could be in the home, in the spirit, in the astral plane, okay, in that middle world, because sometimes it can get a little intense. And so, and that way you're not walking into the physical home having to deal with that at that time. Okay. If that makes sense. Many, if you're still in the house, if you can add to that, that would be great. And so it's easier, even though the middle world is challenging, to deal with those kind of shadows and vibrations, those lower vibrational entities there, than it is to deal with it in our physical world. Okay. And so working in the middle world, you really do have to be balanced. You have to be able to be able to discern really well, to do that kind of work there. And so, and you only get good by doing it, really. Okay, and Jill is saying, so now that I get what you're saying about the shadow work on non-shamanic life, how do you keep it genuine and safe? Actually, no, Jill, that's a great question. And I'm going to be covering that in more depth next week in the mini class, okay? Because we can get very specific in that one. This one is about the energy for today, right? About this and how the energy is unfolding through the information about this card for us today. There is stuff that we can add to that, but I think that the conversation regarding that could take us a while. And so we're going to have that conversation on the second Thursday. Is that the 14th? I don't even know. Somebody could check the calendar for me. I'd appreciate it. The second Thursday at 7 Central, 8 Eastern, will be over in the closed group for the Academy, the Star Nations Academy. Those are the mini classes that I do about the shamanic journey, okay? And we will, I promise, we will cover that question about how do you keep it genuine and safe? That's a great question. Melania is saying, thank you. I'm happy to have found you today. Oh, me too. Me too. So yeah, that we're going to get in. We can get into depth on that one. Okay, Jill. Is the mini class 1 or 2 days? The one in August. The one in August is a day and a half. We would start on Saturday at 10, go to about 5 or so. And then we'd meet back here on Sunday morning, probably 8:30 or 9, and go until noon or thereabouts. And so that you guys can get back on the road and still make it back home wherever you're driving to. If you're driving from Michigan or Minnesota or Iowa, you can still get home at a decent time, you know. Yeah, so there you have it. That's the first weekend, or the first weekend in August. I think it's the 5th and 6th. And Melania is saying it's the 12th next week. Yep. Okay, second Saturday. Thank you. I knew it was like the 12th or the 14th, something like that. So that would be that's a mini class that I hold on at that time. It's about we usually go about an hour, hour and a half, something like that. And that's a giveaway. That's a giveaway. It's a time that we can actually, as practitioners or those people who are just consciously embracing that gift that was given to them called the medicine path. It's a place where you can ask questions and, to talk with people who understand where you're coming from, really, because it is a different kind of path than those who are healers, like Reiki people, or people who do flower essences and essential oils, and those healers, I tell you, they know their stuff because they commune with nature to be able to get those blends and all of that. When you're on this medicine path, on the shamanic medicine path, it's very intense. And we're dealing with our own shadow self so that we can help other people when they're going through it. So Lisa's saying, okay, I might be able to come. Yay. Well, we'll see. We'll keep our fingers crossed. So let me know, Elise, if you need help with any of that, okay? Let's try to figure it out. Got to look at the time here because we have the other card to do too. All right, let's skip over to just want to make sure I covered the parts about the shadow self. All right, here she writes is that the finest shamans in the world today are those healers who have walked the path of death and rebirth, destroying the shadows that have blocked their inner clarity. When a shaman can recognize the shadow inside the self, diagnosing similar darkness is a possibility. That's because we recognize that vibration. We recognize the frequency of that. And so once you can identify it, you know what it feels like, you know what it senses, what it's like. When you're in your shamanic journey, you can't be deceived because you recognize it. You recognize it, you see it, you feel it, you sense it. And so the deception goes way down because you can see it. And Lisa, should be more than $20. probably would be in the future, but I'm doing this because I promised the people in the Academy closed group, because there's some people in there that have never done their first journey and they don't know who to work with. And so I was trying to identify somebody in Southern Indiana to help with that. And Julie Hedges was Julie Hedges was in the house that night, and she says, "Well, we can come to you. Why can't you do it?" And it's like, but I also know that it's short notice, okay, and I also know that it's a financial situation for some people. That's why they haven't found that next step. So I'm removing part of that financial block. And part of it is because that's a giveaway. And energetically, it'll come back to me, at least. It really will. I'm certain about that. And so the $20 is basically, it's just to help cover the cost of, electricity and that kind of stuff. Yep. And Elise is saying, I've not either made that journey, right? And some people haven't. And so if you're on the medicine path as a shamanic healer, and that doesn't, it's not like one day you say, gee, I think I want to be a shamanic healer. I think I'm going to do that. Most times it comes to you. You're not saying, reading it someplace or doing something like that and saying, gee, I think that's what I'm going to do. That's the next class I'm taking. It's not like that at all, because this is certainly a lifestyle. And your soul self and your spiritual team, they already know your soul contract and the path you're going to be on. And so when you receive the invitation in a dream, in a vision, in a meditation, when you're invited by spirit to step onto this path, it's your conscious decision to embrace it. Most likely, you're reluctant. You're saying, I don't know if I want to do that. I don't know if I want that responsibility. That was me. I don't want the responsibility. I mean, this is when I was 17. And when I got my medicine dress, it took me 5 years to bring it into the physical world, because I was dealing with worthiness issues. Why? Who am I to wear that? And so if you are going to embrace the gift that was given to you, because it is a gift, then I am more than happy to help as best I can. All right, so I may have to sleep in your garage, or do I have to? No, but we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Lania says, the path found me after living in such discord, sadness, and I decided it was time to try a new way. I listened to spirit. They guided me to my teachers. I know. Yep. Sometimes, and you were actually facing your shadow selves during that time, I bet. You had already started the work. And so when we heal and balance enough of those parts of ourselves, is when we can actually start hearing our guidance a little bit clearer and seeing much clearer. And I bet you anything you had already started the work, Melania. You were starting to heal those aspects, right? All right, so here we go. The application. In the Shaman's death card, you are being put on notice that a death cycle or ending is in progress. Assist the process by consciously allowing the old to be removed. Let go and then make way for the new cycle of life to take hold. Remember that you are creating fertile ground for new adventures when you're willing to let your old identities die. The rebirth cycle is always full of promise and growth when you allow the old patterns to die with dignity. And to die, to be compassionate with yourself. Sometimes it's so much easier to be that way to other people, but we withhold it from ourselves. And it's not until we can actually feel it for ourselves that it's 100% for someone else, right? Yeah. Compassion. Now, from this card deck, the medicine cards, which is the other deck of Jamie Sam's, what I do, and I just added this recently, this part of it, is that my intention for this card draw is what animal relative will be able to help us to understand that card, which is the Shaman's Death card, better, in more clarity, that we can ask for assistance in understanding. Okay, and this is who came to help us. Dolphin. I wonder, does anybody in chat, or anybody who's going to be seeing the recorded, if you're watching it recorded, do you have dolphin medicine? Do you have dolphin as a animal guy, totem, or power animal? That'll be interesting. And Melania saying lifetime of chaos. Yep, full shadowed. Yeah, those challenges, that's for sure. Been there, done that. And I accepted the t-shirt when I finished. And the thing is that, when we're doing this kind of healing and this kind of work, facing the shadow, we have to go through all four of our bodies, our physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual bodies, for it to be a complete cycle, right? And when it actually reaches the physical life, it's been around for a while, right? It's been around for a while. So that's why sometimes I think it feels like we've been in it forever, is because we have to do the healing and the balancing in all four bodies. And it's a blessing. Really, it's a blessing that the Creator gives to us, that it's only given to us in a way that we can truly endure and handle. All the pieces are not given to us all at once, because I think that would literally break us, I think. Is that it's given to us in a way that, okay, you get through the mental part of it. Now let's give you a little time to integrate. And then we're going to give you the emotional part, or the spiritual part, or the physical part. Okay. So the healing piece, and bringing things to balance, when no matter what kind of healing you're doing, that's why it takes a little time, a little earth time. Let's put it that way. All right. So Dolphin. Jamie Sams writes that Dolphin speaks to us of the breath of life, the only thing humans cannot go without for more than a few minutes. Okay. And Dolphin is about Manna, the breath of life. She says that oxygen is the source of our sustenance. Within the breath, we encounter the rhythm of energy of all life emits. And the thing is that we can, she says that the dolphin is the keeper of the breath of life and teaches us how to release emotions through the dolphin's breath. And the funny thing is that whether we call it dolphin's breath or not, we're already using it most times. If you are a spiritual teacher and you're teaching meditation in any kind of form, you usually have your students taking a deep breath in, holding it for a second, and then really exhaling it hard. So you're going, right? And really blowing it out. That's the dolphin's breath. And so, and the dolphins do that when they breach, when they need oxygen, they come to the surface and they breach the water plane, right? And they take that breath and they're blowing it out. And then they take in more food, more spiritual food, which is the breath. Manna is life force. The dolphin teaches us how to use life mana through our breath and breaks the limits and dimensions of physical reality so that we may enter the dream time. Now, that is a shamanic thing, is to enter the dream time consciously, that you're making the decision to do that. Journey work. There is, I just want to check to make sure. There you go. So how does Dolphin help us with the shamanic death, right? Most of us are shallow breathers. Have you ever caught yourself shallow breathing? You know? Yeah, and when we are frightened, when we are upset, we're not breathing deep. We're breathing shallow from up here, almost to the point of hyperventilation. Okay, and so when we take those deep breaths, we're bringing in more oxygen into our body and into our cells, every aspect of our cells, right? And so what Jamie Sams is telling us is that the dolphin, through the dolphin medicine, we can use breath work to enter another plane dimension of existence. How many people have ever done circular breathing? That's kind of a yogic thing. Circular breathing. 7, I think it's 7, or is it 9? You're counting as you're inhaling, and you're counting as you're exhaling the same amount. So if you're breathing in for 7, you're exhaling for 7. In for 7, out for 7. And if you do that, you can find your body really starting to relax, and you get into a meditative state. You slip in between. That's the shamanic work, slipping in between the dimensions. And then finding, you should know where you want to go. Making that intention, making it conscious. And I can tell you that when my Misha, my grandfather, never owned a hand drum. He used the big drum, but he part of the dream drum religion, but he never had a hand drum. And occasionally you could hear him using his cane on the floor to drum, singing. But most often, he was using breath work to do those kind of soul traveling, those journeys. And so you don't necessarily need the drum, and you don't necessarily need the flute. You don't necessarily need the singing bowls. You need your breath. But I have to tell you, it does take some self-discipline to do the journey work through your breath alone. Yeah, because your mind wanders. Your mind wanders to the shopping list and the things that you forgot that you were supposed to do. Yeah. All right, so here's the part about dolphin, is that the dolphin came to discover underwater, the spider, okay, this is the creation story, sort of, is that dolphin was given a gift. And dolphin was given the gift of communication, language. And they called it the primordial tongue, the sound language. And it was brought by Spider from the great star nation. Dolphin learned that all communication was pattern and rhythm, and that the new aspect of communication was sound. And when the dolphin came back to the physical world, he was kind of sad because he wasn't using his new language, right? And Whale came to him and said that he could return to be the messenger for the Dreamtime dwellers anytime, and he felt the rhythm and use of the breath. Okay, and so he became the carrier of messages of our progress between us and spirit. And so she says that the Dreamtime dwellers, that's us, were curious about the children. Oh, I'm sorry. The Dreamtime dwellers is spirit. They were curious about us, the children of Earth, and wanted to grow to be one of the great spirit. Dolphin was to be the link. So he's our link to spirit. Oh, you know what? It's Tuesday, and Polly Joe is going to be starting her show. I'm so sorry, Polly Joe, you popped in. Thank you. So I'm going to wrap this up. Dolphin is here to help us with the communication with our communication with our spiritual team, about facing our shadow selves so we can heal that and bring it into balance. Sorry about that. I lost track of time. So see how the energy is going to unfold for you today. We covered a lot, like we did. We'll see you back here tomorrow with the next card draw. Take what felt good to you. What resonated, let the rest go. Okay? All right. We'll see you tomorrow morning with the next card draw. Bama Mina, everybody. Hey, join Polly Joe. Her show is starting.